Okay, in this video, we're going to talk all about how to facilitate feedback once you get it back. So once you get the feedback, what is happening next? Like, are you done? I don't know what to do from here. So before you look at the feedback, you need to first be in the right mindset. Just like how you need to put your clients in the right mindset before they see their logos and all that stuff, before you see their response, you need to put yourself in the right mindset as well. I mean, designers and creatives are just naturally really emotional and attached to their work. So what you need to do for a second is just sit down, detach yourself from the work that you made, and try to see everything from their client's perspective. If you can see their feedback from their perspective and think, okay, well, maybe they have a lot going on, or just try and see like what's going on inside of their head. I mean, you never know what's going on inside of someone's life. And maybe they approved everything, but they were really short and concise. And you're like, I don't know if they loved it. They just approved it. Maybe they're having a really stressful day. You have no idea. So just keep that in mind before you look at the response. So there's a few different types of feedback. And with each type of feedback, I'm going to give you what to do in correspondence with that feedback. So the first one is the best one, the one that you always want to see, is everything looks great. I'd love to know which logo you like best. And so if they approve everything, you're going to send them an email or a Loom video with your opinion, or if they didn't ask your opinion, you're just going to be like, great, now we're going to finalize the strategy. I'm working on getting you that finalized document right now. And if you're doing logos and websites, you're going to let them know you've now started creating that. Now, the next type of feedback is well, I love everything. I just have a few questions about blank, or I'm still curious about this. What I like to do when my clients have a few questions is I like to schedule a phone call with them to discuss and answer their questions, because likely it's some kind of miscommunication, there's something in the strategy that was a good idea or still is going to be approved. I just maybe need it on my end to write it in a clearer way, or need to explain it a little bit more. And so I just want to make sure and get on a phone call with them to really clarify that, because there's so much that can be lost over email, and you need to make sure you really, really nail this. Next thing is oh, this is awesome. And they might just have a few things that they want to change. I'd love to see blank implemented more in the mission statement, or hey, can we add, I'm curious about this, or I'm feeling a little bit like this. All you're going to do is you're just going to send them an email letting them know that you got their feedback with a few bullet points of what exact revisions you're going to be working on and what round of revisions you're going to be working on. It's really important to be really clear about what it is you're currently working on, so they're so they don't come back and they're wait, I thought about this, or I thought about that, or I thought you were working on this. And to be clear about what round of revisions you are, so then it doesn't feel awkward, maybe it does come up to your limit of revisions, and it's awkward when you're you're out of revisions, and they're wait, what? I didn't know that. And so I always try to keep my client up with the amount of revisions that they're on throughout the process, so that they can stay well informed and that they can get all of their feedback and condense it into the smallest amount of revisions as possible. Okay, now this is a type of feedback you really shouldn't hear, but just in case you do see something that's really objective, I don't like this color, or I want to go a different direction, or something like that, what you're going to do is you're not going to even respond to what it is that they have problems with. You're just going to schedule a phone call with them to discuss why. And I know it's really, really scary. And you're I'm scared I'm going to get emotional or whatever. I think this is really the best way to really understand what's going on. Every time that this has happened and I get on a phone call with my clients to ask why they don't like that color, I end up finding out that the reason they don't like that color, or their feedback came back so crappy, was because maybe they didn't understand something, or they were just having a crappy day themselves, and they were reflecting a lot of their fears, and again, a lot of the mindset issues that they're having onto the feedback. And so I talk that through with them, and I try and make them feel a little bit more confident about yes, this is the right, remember we talked about the strategy, and remember how we did this, and they're oh yeah, I did feel really good about that, and they all of a sudden are okay, cool, we're good. So that's why I like to do a phone call instead of just being okay, fine, here you go. So if you did get objective feedback though, and it wasn't very helpful, think about what you could do next time to clarify that better and to position yourself as the expert more. There might be something in your strategy where you're well, I feel I could learn more about this or X, Y, and Z. Try and take it as a learning experience. And this really shouldn't happen at all. And if it does, it should not happen very often. But if it does, try and take it as a learning experience because I'm sure there's something to be learned here. So let's get into finalizing the carry-all. Now that you've got all the feedback and you're working on finalizing it, how do we do that? So you need to make sure to take off the different options. So like you gave them a mood board option, color option, type options. Take off the options that they didn't choose, and you're going to add the color codes to each of the color palettes so that they can have all those tools. And then you're going to add in 2 pages. You're going to add in the brand typography page and you're going to add in the colors page. Now the brand typography page is broken up into a few different pages. There's a page dedicated to each font, and then one page that shows all of the fonts together and how to use them. I like to have one page for each font just because it gives a little description of the power of this font and why we're using this font and all that stuff, and then one page of okay, here's technically how to use it. And the reason why I have this page is because you need to show them how to use typography and why it's so important. I know it sounds like obviously you use this for the subtitle and this for this and whatever, but it's not obvious to your client at all. In fact, I'm always so surprised at how much I need to guide my clients in typography, with the kerning, with capitalization, anything that you can give help on in this area, please definitely do. Now in this page, you're going to give a few descriptions of the fonts. Now when you're making these descriptions, I have a few tips. You're going to first tell what the font is. Second, you're going to tell why this type choice is important, how it links back specifically to this problems that you're solving for your audience. And third, how to use the type. Those 3 things are really, really important in every description that you do. Now the colors page is really similar to the brand typography page. You're basically just saying what the colors are, why the colors are important, and how to use the colors. Besides just plugging in the different color codes and making sure everything is on cue, it should be pretty simple to use.